So, Jasper, thanks for agreeing to talk to us. Maybe you could just tell us a little bit about how the prospects for African exploration look at the moment.
Well, we at BP think they look very good, indeed. In the past 4 years, we've grown our presence in Africa from 4 countries: Angola, Egypt, Libya, and Algeria, and added another 6: Mauritania, Senegal, the Ivory Coast, South Pacific, Madagascar, and more recently the Gambia. So we clearly think they're very good.
And in terms of countries that you're looking for, what sort of characteristics are you on the hunt for?
Well, we look for opportunities, of scale. We're a large company, and I always like to bring forward opportunities that are approaching 10% of the company size, because that, one, makes it competitive for my executives' time, and 2, you become relevant to a country. If it's smaller than that, then probably more suited to a company of a smaller scale. So that's one. Scale is important. Number 2, it's got to compete, on a global scale as far as the economics of the project, the capital intensity required, and fiscal stability.
You spoke very interestingly in your presentation about Angola and some of the opportunities that are coming forwards there. What do you see as sort of triggering this? I mean, obviously there's been a process of reforms in the last couple of years.
I think those reforms in Angola have been tremendously important. The last 5 or 6 years, investments had ground to a halt. One, because existing licenses were reaching the end, of their term and had to be extended before new investments kind of made sense. But a large part was the economics no longer made sense. So when a new president came in, he actually listened to the existing IOCs, brought work groups together, and implemented 5 major new bills. Most importantly, the marginal fields bill, etc., providing gas terms and new exploration and production framework. On the basis of that, even this year, we've partnered in 3 FIDs on Block 17. We are looking to progress projects on Block 18 and 31 again. And I can actually see a very exciting program, or perhaps 2 to 3 wells, a year near infrastructure, be it on our non-operated blocks or operated blocks.
Another country that's brought in reforms has been Egypt, and obviously you're doing a lot in the upstream there. Is that competitive on a global scale?
Well, we've got a big position in Egypt, and the biggest thing that I can see there is that the past 5-10 years, the domestic gas market in Egypt has grown so much, and they've had to import gas and pay import prices. What recent discoveries have done in sanctions of projects at the West Nile Delta, Atoll, and more recently Zohr, is fill the domestic gas market, which is a good thing because that saves the company or the country and the state billions of dollars a year. And now I think the country will need to make an assessment whether there's enough resource available for it to participate in the export as well.
And just looking at the sort of the broader African picture, what do you see as the sort of the greatest challenge for your business in the continent?
It will continue to be to find opportunities that are competitive with the lowest cost of supply. So for gas, Mauritania, Senegal, that has to compete with US shale gas, into Europe. The company's working on the east coast of Africa. There's a bit of a softening in the Asia Pacific market, so that will need to work. But even for the oil projects, and we are still very excited about the opportunities in deep water. It does need to compete with the lowest cost of supply, whether that's US onshore, Brazil, the Middle East. That will always, in our mind, drive the costs kind of back down to, or the price back down to $50, and do the economics work, do the rocks work, the fiscal policies work to generate competitive projects.
We're here at the Africa E&P Summit. Have you enjoyed the conference, and maybe you could tell us maybe a little bit about what you've got out of it?
Well, the number one thing always at a conference, it's great, to have the other companies represented, and this year they've got 3 governments represented as well. So just the opportunity to network. Our entry into Mauritania and Senegal started at a conference, like this, talking to another company. It was Cosmos in this case. That's where an idea was generated. I think this conference, it's the right size right now. The auditorium is brilliant, and just looking at the amount of content that you get from the speakers, that has already generated, one or two, maybe even three ideas that I didn't have in my brain beforehand. And who knows where that takes us.
Fingers crossed for another Tortue.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you very much, Jasper.
All right, my pleasure.